Hello, everybody. Welcome to In Case You Missed It on Pop Affair. So let's talk about this whole Kevin Hart debacle. Oh no, 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 no. Say it ain't so. I really actually like Kevin Hart, and this was I don't know, like I think with celebrities or with people in general, I try not to have a superhero complex. Like not everybody is perfect and you should never expect somebody to be perfect, but it's hard sometimes when you admire somebody, I suppose. Someone who brings you joy, and Kevin Hart has brought me joy at least. I listened to his earlier stand-up comedy, which I really liked. Even though I think that ever since he's become rich, I don't know. I feel like he's not funny anymore, but I did listen to like his early comedy and I laughed, chuckled and everything. But so recently, all obviously you should be aware now. If you're not, that's why you're here. He has been caught allegedly cheating on his 7 month pregnant wife Eniko. So we woke up, I think it was about Monday or so, with him posting an Instagram apology. Actually, a friend of mine was like to me, "Hey, did you see the video by Kevin Hart?" And I was like, "Nah." So I took a look at it, and it was him apologizing, and I didn't take note of it. Like I didn't really. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like. And then a couple of days later, yeah, then they found out that somebody was actually attempting to extort him for $10 million, saying that they had a sex tape out on them. So Famulous released the tape. For those of you who haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Like you can all see the video now, but it's all unfortunate circumstances for him, for his wife. It's just sad on all parts, especially when you're 7 months pregnant. I mean, you don't need that kind of stress in your life. And, a lot of people have been saying, oh, she deserves it because it's alleged that she was a mistress in Kevin Hart's previous marriage, and his wife has come out and, spoken out about it, about the fact that, she was a mistress according, because they divorced 6 years ago, and Eniko has been with Kevin for 8 years. So, there's an overlapping. But all in all, it's an unfortunate situation. Some people are saying he's a married man, he should have not cheated. But you know what? It's a little bit hard, I think, when you're a public figure. I don't condone cheating, but then this is not for me to judge. It's somebody else's personal life. And when you have your personal business out there, like, he didn't choose to put his personal business out there. Somebody filmed his actions in his personal time. And if you are, okay with sleeping with a married man, I don't really think you should extort them after. Like, that's a decision two adults made. Like, you can't now, grab out the petty salt and then start extorting the guy just because you feel like his actions are inappropriate. If you felt that his actions were inappropriate and if you felt like he was a hypocrite, you should have not slept with him in the first place. Point blank period. Like I don't understand this whole, because in the video, if you haven't seen it, they basically allege that Kevin Hart did the whole Hurricane Harvey situation so that he can get in front of this whole social media backlash that was going to come because of the cheating rumors. But the thing is, it's like, well, number one, Harvey was a natural disaster, so unless Kevin Hart has got direct communication with the climate, no, that couldn't be the case. And honestly, who are you to judge? Like, you decided as a conscious human being to engage in physical contact with an adult who was married. I mean, the shame game goes all the way around, and I think it's a little bit high-handed that this person, whoever's extorting him, is attempting to basically play the moral high ground, like, and then trying to say that he's the bad guy when it took like two to tango. And for all of those people who are like, what goes around comes around in terms of Eniko, look, to be honest, we're not in Kevin's marriage. We don't know everything. We only know what both parties are alleging. I mean, Eniko and Tori, and of course, Kevin. So three parties. But like, we weren't all there, and relationships are complicated. Although I do feel sorry for Tori because, she has said that when she first met Kevin, he was selling shoes, and then she felt like as if the more he got famous, she was in the background. All I can say to that is, you know what, tough cookies. I know that sounds a little bit hard, but at the end of the day, I think when you're in a relationship, especially they were in a relationship, I think they were college sweethearts, and they were really young when they got married at about 22 or something. When you're in a relationship, especially, you whether you're a woman or a man or whatever it is, I think you need to keep developing yourself. I'm all for, sacrificing for a partner, but I think that there's a time and a place for that. I don't really think you should be sacrificing for your partner wholeheartedly at the beginnings of one's relationship, because at the end of the day, you need to make an investment on yourself. And if your partner really is going to be successful, he will be successful regardless of whether or not you 100% sacrifice or not. Like, I feel like, I don't know, this is a bit of bitter Betty situation where, she did sacrifice for Kevin, but you know what? Tough cookies. Like, you should have been thinking about yourself too. And I know it sounds, harsh and all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of women out there sacrificing for their husbands. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm dating somebody, I'm thinking about myself first and foremost. And if they're on the bootstraps or if they're selling shoes or whatever, that's great. But I'm going to be thinking about where my trajectory is going to be. Like, there's none of this, hey, babes, hey, hun, you go out, you go work money, you build your career while I stay home with the kids. No, 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 sorry. Not in 2017, not in 2020. Sorry. Because at the end of the day, while I'm there spending the time with the kids, and I'm not judging like single mothers or I'm not judging like stay-at-home moms. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you're gonna have bitter Betty syndrome later, like, don't say you're gonna stay home and take care of the kids if you are one, looking for a return on your investment, i.e. that this guy's gonna stay with you, or two, going to feel bad about it. I feel like that's a conscious choice she made as a couple. If you made that decision at the time, you need to live with it. You can't really come back and say, I sacrificed, yada, yada, yada. Nah, sorry. You made a decision to sacrifice. You sacrificed, and unfortunately, you didn't get a return on your investment. Many people put money into businesses in this day and age, and they don't get a return on their investment. So you put money into Kevin Hart, and unfortunately, you didn't get return on your investment. And guess what? Somebody else came in, and unfortunately, and they didn't put in the investment, but they got the return. But that's not their fault. Like, that's not their fault. Many times you might date a guy, and he's the shittiest person, and you put all your energy in, and then he ends up going and dating somebody else. Well, you know what? Sad life. Like, it's happened to nearly all women I know, and some guys as well. It's just tough cookies, and I think Tori is being a little bit bitter Betty by stringing this along. She now has a huge platform by being Kevin Wife's ex-wife. She still's got Kevin Hart's last name, and I'm pretty sure that can open windows and opportunities for her. I didn't like the interview she did with Inside Edition because I think it was unnecessary and it was classless. I mean, I know she's promoting her I think it's Healthy Heart's natural hair care brand, which is fantastic. And I think for her to be classy, like what's her the lady, I don't know her name, but Will Smith's ex-wife, his son's mother, I think she's like, you never hear from her. You never hear any 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 issues, or you just don't hear from her. And I just think for her to have the upper moral high ground, whatever Eniko is feeling, if it is true that it did happen, and she was the mistress, karma comes around usually in most cases. So she should be using her platform. At least if that was me, I'd be using this massive platform that Kevin Hart has to be a successful businesswoman. Like, at the end of the day, I am the mother of his kids, and Kevin Hart seems to think that him and his wife have a very positive relationship. If that's the case, then why don't you use that for your own benefit instead of now creating an enemy out of somebody that could be an ally? And I'm pretty sure she gets child support. I don't know how much the child support is, but if Kevin Hart is worth $120 million, it must be pretty decent. I mean, if you were so, let me put it this way. I think that if you were going to be successful, you didn't, with or without Kevin, it was going to happen. Now you're not with Kevin. If you really had that successful spirit and that businesswoman spirit and that ability to be successful, then now we should be seeing that. We should be seeing the fruits of your own labor, because now you don't have to sacrifice as much as you had done before. So, more of the story is, good luck, Eniko, with your relationship. This is a personal matter. It's up to her to forgive him. I don't care whether she forgives him or not. Like, who cares? That's up to her. That's her husband. She has to sleep with Kevin, not me. Or not you. Not anybody who's Twitter thugging on the internet, or broadband blooding, or cyber cripping on the internet. Nah, she's the only one who has to deal with it. So personally, I don't really care. As for Tori, stay classy. As Beyonce said, best revenge is your paper. Become successful and do much better than your situation enabled you to do while you were with him. As I said, he's got a huge platform. He's got millions of people that tune in. I would be using that situation to my advantage rather than making enemies out of somebody who could actually be an ally, and moving forward, getting a bit of lipo, exercising, doing me, and finding me a new relationship. Kevin Hart is worth $120 million. Tori, there are many men out there who are worth more than that if you're really looking for someone who's wealthy. Even you don't even have to look for a man. You can just set yourself up for life by yourself. So I think that's the more of this story. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Tori Hart should be out here celebrating, like in the corner. Yeah, look, if we're calling Patti LaBelle out, yes, she should, but if she felt like she was wrong. But the best revenge, as I said in the words of Beyonce, the best revenge is your paper. Also, yeah, if you're gonna sleep with a married man, don't try to extort them. I don't get that. Like, I really don't understand that. I mean, at the moment, I think the lady who is alleged. I'm not giving her any light. I don't even care who she is, but she's wanting $425,000. It's alleged, in order for her to do a lie detector test. Kevin, it's out there. Now you're spending all these millions of dollars on lawyer fees. I don't know why. How is it going to help? The video is already out there. I know you want the person who did it to suffer the consequences of the law. I understand it. I hope that person does suffer the consequences of the law, because I don't actually know. Oh, well, he wasn't in a relationship with those people, but I don't know if you can release sexually explicit videos of somebody. I don't know if that's illegal, but it should be, because I don't think what you do in your private life is your private life. Now, a lot of people also, another thing I forgot to mention is that people are like, oh, it ruins his brand, it ruins his image. I don't know, he's a comedian. I never really thought Kevin Hart was like a family-friendly sort of thing. He did say he cheated on Tori Hart before. I know people have said about the video about him calling Eniko his rib and he's too old to cheat, yada yada yada. Yes, people. You know what? I just think we shouldn't have such a high moral high ground for anybody, because we are all going through our own lives, doing our own things. We've all said one thing and done another thing. So, like, who cares if he said Eniko was his Mac rib, and unfortunately that didn't become the case. McDonald's changes their burgers all the time, so why shouldn't we change our opinions all the time?